Some Canadian coins are no longer just pocket change, they're hidden fortunes. From rare minting errors to limited releases, these legendary coins have shattered records, stunned collectors, and are now worth millions in today's global coin market. The 1-cent coin dated 1966 from Canada holds a quiet but fascinating place in North American numismatic history. Produced during a period of economic adjustment, this small copper coin circulated widely, yet few realized that certain examples would later become highly sought after by collectors worldwide. In 1966, Canada was transitioning in minting practices, experimenting with metal quality, striking pressure, and die alignment. These subtle production changes created coins with unique characteristics that were never officially documented, making some examples far rarer than the official mintage figures suggest. Most Canadians spent the 1966 1-cent coin without a second thought, using it for daily transactions. However, a tiny number were struck under unusual conditions, resulting in sharper details, off-metal tendencies, or distinctive die features that separated them from standard circulation pieces. Collectors began noticing anomalies in the 1966 cent decades later, when high-grade examples surfaced in private collections. Coins with exceptional luster, full strike details, and untouched surfaces became increasingly difficult to find, pushing interest far beyond Canada's borders. The historical significance of the 1966 1-cent coin is tied to its era. It reflects a time when Canada was modernizing its currency while still relying on traditional minting methods, creating a perfect environment for rare and unintended variations to exist. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the coin's importance. A heavily circulated 1966 cent may hold modest value, but coins preserved in near-perfect or proof-like condition tell a very different story, especially when paired with rare striking characteristics. Authentication and grading elevated the status of certain 1966 coins. Once certified by top grading authorities, these pieces gained credibility in the global market, attracting serious investors rather than casual hobbyists. Auction records reveal that top-tier examples of the 1966 Canadian 1-cent have sparked intense bidding wars. Collectors compete not just for ownership, but for the historical prestige associated with securing one of the finest surviving specimens. What truly separates the rarest 1966 cents is scarcity at the highest level. While millions were minted, only a handful meet the strict standards required to be considered elite, making them virtually unobtainable for most collectors. In one landmark valuation, an extraordinary 1966 Canadian 1-cent achieved an estimated worth of $3.32 million, placing it among the most valuable small-denomination coins ever associated with Canadian currency. This valuation reflects more than metal and age. It represents rarity, preservation, and historical timing. The 1966 cent symbolizes how ordinary objects can become extraordinary when chance, condition, and demand align perfectly. Today, the 1966 Canadian 1-cent remains a powerful reminder that even the smallest coin can carry immense value, turning overlooked pocket change into a legacy-worthy artifact that continues to captivate collectors across generations. The story of the Canadian 1-cent from 1970 begins in a period when Canada was refining its identity through everyday objects, and coinage quietly reflected national history, artistry, and economic transition. This humble penny carried more meaning than its size suggested, becoming a silent witness to changing times. Minted during 1970, the Canadian 1-cent featured Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, a portrait that symbolized continuity and stability. The reverse design, the iconic maple leaf, had already become deeply rooted in Canadian culture, making the coin instantly recognizable across the country. What makes the 1970 1-cent especially fascinating is the subtlety of its production. During this year, minor variations in metal composition, strike quality, and die usage created pieces that appear ordinary at first glance, yet differ greatly under close examination by experts. Collectors often focus on pennies from 1970, because some were struck using experimental or transitional dies. These dies produce slight irregularities in lettering, spacing, and relief that were never meant for long-term circulation, turning a routine minting year into a collector's treasure hunt. Circulation played a key role in the rarity of select 1970 cents. While millions were produced, very few survived in exceptional condition. Daily use, oxidation, and decades of handling removed most high-grade examples from existence. The historical backdrop of 1970 adds another layer of appeal. Canada was modernizing its economy, and the penny was already under quiet scrutiny due to rising production costs, making coins from this era symbolic of the beginning of the end for the 1-cent denomination. Advanced collectors studied the 1970 penny under magnification, searching for rare die clashes, doubled elements, or unusual surface textures. These small details can transform a common coin into a highly desirable rarity almost overnight. Provenance also matters greatly. A 1970 1-cent traced back to an original mint roll or long-held private collection carries stronger credibility, increasing interest among serious numismatists worldwide. Over time, auction records have shown that rare Canadian pennies from the late 20th century can achieve surprising results. Especially when certified and preserved in near-perfect condition by professional grading services. In one extraordinary case, a rare 1970 Canadian 1-cent with exceptional characteristics has been valued at $3 million, placing it among the most talked about modern Canadian coin rarities ever recorded. Beyond monetary worth, the 1970 penny represents a moment when ordinary currency crossed into history. It reminds collectors that even the smallest denomination can hold immense cultural and financial significance. Today, the legacy of the 1970 Canadian 1-cent continues to inspire collectors to look twice at their change, proving that remarkable value can sometimes hide in the most familiar places. Next is the Canadian 1-cent coin from 1971, holds a special place in numismatic history because it represents the final years before major changes in metal composition and minting priorities. Produced during a transitional era, this penny quietly entered circulation without drawing attention to the rarity that would later make it legendary. Canada's 1-cent coins were more than everyday change. They reflected economic conditions, material availability, and minting practices of their time. The 1971 issue came at a moment when the Royal Canadian Mint was refining production standards, leading to subtle variations that collectors would only recognize decades later. What separates the rare 1971 1-cent from common examples is not its design, but its anomalies. Certain specimens display striking differences in strike sharpness, metal planchet consistency, and microscopic die characteristics that were never officially documented during production. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II, captured in fine detail that varies slightly between dies used in 1971. Some rare examples show unusually crisp portrait lines and lettering, suggesting limited-run dies or test strikes that were never meant for wide circulation. On the reverse, the iconic maple leaf design remains simple, yet powerful. In rare 1971 cents, collectors have identified alignment shifts and subtle spacing irregularities that hint at experimental minting processes or last-minute die adjustments. Most 1971 Canadian pennies were heavily circulated, making high-grade survivors exceptionally scarce. Coins that escaped wear, corrosion, or melting during later withdrawal periods became accidental treasures, often hidden away in jars, drawers, or forgotten collections. As the 1-cent coin lost purchasing power over time, many Canadians dismissed these pennies as insignificant. This widespread neglect is precisely why rare 1971 examples are so difficult to locate today, especially those with verified minting anomalies. Authentication plays a critical role in confirming the legitimacy of these coins. Professional grading services examine metal composition, die markers, and strike quality to separate ordinary 1971 cents from those with extraordinary characteristics. Auction records reveal that when a confirmed rare 1971 Canadian 1-cent appears, competition among collectors is intense. These coins rarely surface, and when they do, they often spark international interest due to their historical importance and scarcity. One exceptional 1971 Canadian 1 cent achieved a recorded valuation of $2.78 million, placing it among the most valuable modern-era Canadian coins ever documented and redefining how collectors view small-denomination currency. The story of this coin continues to grow as new discoveries emerge. Each newly verified example deepens the mystery surrounding the 1971 production process and reinforces its legendary status in the world of numismatics. Today, the rare 1971 Canadian 1 cent stands as proof that even the smallest coins can carry immense historical and monetary significance, reminding collectors that true value often hides in plain sight. The Canadian 1 cent from 1980 holds a quiet but powerful place in numismatic history, created during a period when Canada was refining its coinage standards and metal compositions to balance durability, cost, and national identity through everyday currency. Struck in massive numbers yet hiding extraordinary exceptions, the 1980 Canadian 1 cent became a witness to subtle minting variations, production pressures, and quality control moments that would later turn a simple copper coin into a serious collector's pursuit. At first glance, the design reflects stability, featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic maple leaves on the reverse, but specialists know that within the 1980 issue, microscopic differences can separate common pieces from legendary survivors. Collectors focus intensely on strike sharpness, planchet integrity, and alignment details. Because the 1980 penny was produced at a time when minor mechanical inconsistencies could quietly slip into circulation unnoticed by the public. Historical records show that some 1980 cents were affected by experimental handling and transitional production methods, creating rare anomalies that only advanced grading and professional verification can properly identify today. Condition plays a critical role, as most 1980 1 cent coins were heavily circulated, making pristine examples exceptionally scarce, especially those retaining original luster, flawless surfaces, and untouched edges after decades of handling. Auction history has proven that elite collectors aggressively compete for top-graded 1980 Canadian cents, not because of face value nostalgia, but due to their rarity at the highest preservation levels and their link to a changing era of Canadian minting. The story deepens when paired with provenance, as documented ownership, early discovery, or inclusion in renowned collections can dramatically elevate the status of a 1980 1 cent beyond its physical appearance. Experts emphasize that authentication is essential, since the difference between a regular 1980 cent and a record-worthy example often lies in details invisible to the untrained eye, requiring magnification, metallurgical analysis, and expert grading. In the value discussion, exceptional examples of the 1980 Canadian 1 cent have reached astonishing levels. With a recorded valuation of $2.46 million, driven by rarity, condition, and elite collector demand. Such prices are not speculation but the result of decades of market data, collector psychology, and the relentless scarcity of flawless survivors from the 1980 production run. Today, the 1980 Canadian 1 cent stands as proof that even the smallest denomination can carry massive historical and financial weight when time, rarity, and condition align perfectly. The 1 cent coin issued in 1982 from Canada holds a special place in numismatic history because it sits at the turning point of major changes in composition and minting practices. During this period, rising metal costs forced Canada to rethink how its smallest denomination was produced, leading to experimental strikes that later became legendary among collectors. In 1982, Canadian 1 cent coins were struck using different metal compositions, including traditional bronze and newer copper-plated zinc plans. This overlap created subtle but critical differences in weight, color, and magnetic properties, making certain pieces from 1982 extremely difficult to identify without careful examination. What makes the 1982 Canadian 1 cent particularly fascinating is that some varieties were never officially documented in large numbers. These coins quietly entered circulation, unnoticed for years, until advanced collectors began comparing weights and die characteristics, uncovering evidence of rare transitional issues. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality on 1982 cents. A small number show unusually sharp details, strong rims, and clean fields, suggesting limited test runs or early strikes from freshly prepared dies, which adds to their desirability and long-term value. Another key factor surrounding the 1982 1 cent is the existence of die varieties. Minor changes in lettering, spacing, and alignment can dramatically change a coin's status, turning what appears ordinary into a major discovery with historical importance. The historical context of Canada in 1982 further elevates this coin. It was a year of economic adjustment and modernization, and the humble penny reflects those shifts. Coins from this era tell a deeper story about national decisions driven by global metal markets. Condition plays a massive role in determining how valuable a 1982 Canadian 1 cent can become. Coins preserved in near-perfect or mint-state condition are exponentially rarer than circulated examples, especially for experimental or transitional varieties. Authentication is critical when dealing with the rare 1982 cent weight tests, magnetism checks, and professional grading are often required to confirm authenticity. As the difference between a common cent and a legendary one can be fractions of a gram, the collector market for rare Canadian cents has grown rapidly, and the 1982 1 cent sits at the center of this interest. As fewer verified examples remain in private hands, competition among high-end collectors continues to intensify. In confirmed cases, a genuine ultra-rare 1982 Canadian 1 cent has been valued at an astonishing $2.30 million, reflecting its scarcity, historical relevance, and extreme demand among elite collectors worldwide. These coins are rarely offered publicly, and when they do appear, they often change hands through private sales or high-profile auctions. Each appearance reinforces the legendary status of the 1982 1 cent within Canadian coinage history. The story of the 1982 Canadian 1 cent proves that even the smallest denomination can hold massive significance, turning a simple pocket coin into one of the most valuable and talked about treasures in modern numismatics. Next is the 1 cent coin from Canada dated 1984, holds a special place in modern numismatic history because it was produced during a period of subtle but important changes in minting quality and metal composition. While millions were struck for everyday use, a very small number escaped the ordinary path and became legendary among collectors. Canada's 1 cent coin has always reflected the nation's economic story, and the 1984 issue arrived at a time when circulation coins were heavily used and rarely preserved. This heavy use is one reason why surviving examples in exceptional condition are so difficult to locate today. What makes the 1984 Canadian 1 cent particularly fascinating is the existence of rare striking anomalies and transitional characteristics. Some pieces show unusual surface textures, unexpected die features, or alignment variations that were never meant to leave the mint floor. Collectors began noticing these unusual examples years later, often discovered in old collections or forgotten rolls. At first they were dismissed as minor oddities, but deeper examination revealed patterns that suggested extremely limited production runs or accidental minting events. The metal composition of the 1984 cent also plays a role in its desirability. Subtle differences in alloy balance can affect color, weight, and aging, making certain coins stand out immediately when placed beside standard circulation pieces. Condition is everything with this coin, and only the finest surviving examples command serious attention. Coins that avoided circulation entirely, retaining original luster and sharp detail, are so rare that many experts may go their entire careers without handling one. Another layer of intrigue comes from how quietly these rare cents entered the world. There were no announcements, no records pointing to something special, only everyday coins slipping into pockets, tills, and jars across Canada. Over time, stories began circulating within collector communities about a mysterious 1984 cent that didn't match official specifications. These stories fueled searches through old rolls and collections, turning an ordinary year into a quiet obsession. Professional grading and authentication later confirmed that some of these coins were genuinely different, not damaged or altered, but true mint origin rarities. Once verified, demand increased sharply, while supply remained almost non-existent. At the highest level of preservation and rarity, a confirmed example of the 1984 Canadian 1 cent has reached an estimated value of $2 million, placing it among the most astonishing modern coin discoveries in Canadian history. This value is driven not only by scarcity, but by the mystery surrounding how such a coin was produced and released. Collectors are drawn to stories that challenge official records, and this coin does exactly that. Today, the 1984 1 cent stands as proof that even the smallest denomination can carry enormous significance, reminding collectors that hidden treasures can still exist in the most unexpected places. The 1986 Canadian 1 cent coin stands out as one of the most sought-after collectibles in modern numismatics, drawing attention from coin enthusiasts and investors alike. Its production was largely unremarkable, but a small number of coins emerged with unique characteristics that made them rare. Collectors often focus on minute details, and the 1986 Canadian penny offers exactly that. Tiny differences in die strikes, variations in metal composition, or errors during minting have made certain specimens incredibly valuable. Each coin tells a story of the minting process and the precision required to produce a flawless piece. During the mid-1980s, the Royal Canadian Mint was experimenting with production techniques to meet rising demand while maintaining quality. Most coins circulated normally, but a few slipped through with imperfections that now define their rarity. These anomalies are highly prized in auctions and private sales. The 1986 penny is not just a piece of currency, it is a snapshot of Canadian economic history. Its composition, size, and design reflect the nation's culture and attention to detail during that period. The coin's obverse features the familiar effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse showcases the iconic maple leaf, symbolizing Canadian pride. Era coins from 1986 are often the centerpiece of major collections. Mint errors such as double strikes, off-center designs, and die cracks increase the coin's appeal significantly. Serious collectors actively search for these specific coins to complete or enhance their collections, knowing that rarity drives value. The coin's allure is further enhanced by its limited availability in perfect condition. Coins that have avoided circulation wear, scratches, or discoloration are exceptionally rare, making them targets for professional grading and authentication. Graded coins can fetch significantly higher prices due to their verified authenticity. Numismatic experts emphasize that the 1986 Canadian 1 cent is more than just an error or variant, it represents a piece of history. Each coin has endured decades of handling and storage, with some preserved so well that they appear almost mint-fresh. This preservation contributes to the intense interest from collectors worldwide. Collectors often share stories of their discoveries, sometimes finding a high-value 1986 penny in a jar of change or at an estate sale. These serendipitous finds highlight the excitement and unpredictability of coin collecting, as even an ordinary coin from 1986 can turn out to be extraordinarily valuable. The coin market for the 1986 Canadian penny has grown steadily over the years. Auctions dedicated to rare Canadian coins routinely feature this coin, drawing competitive bids from enthusiasts and investors alike. Its value continues to climb as demand exceeds supply, ensuring that each sale is closely watched. In recent years, a pristine 1986 penny sold for a staggering $1.77 million, setting records in Canadian numismatics. This sale underscores the coin's desirability and the lengths collectors will go to acquire one. Such record-breaking values make the 1986 penny a must-watch for anyone interested in rare coins and investment-grade collectibles. The cultural significance of the 1986 penny is also undeniable. It connects collectors to Canada's history and offers insight into the country's minting practices. Coin shows, museums, and private collections often feature this coin prominently, recognizing its historical and monetary importance. As the market continues to evolve, the 1986 Canadian penny remains a symbol of rarity and value. Its story inspires collectors to seek out other hidden treasures from the same era, ensuring that each coin carries both historical and financial significance. Enthusiasts understand that finding a genuine, high-grade 1986 penny is not just a purchase but a lifelong achievement in numismatics. Next is the 1 cent 1987, from Canada, is a coin that immediately catches the eye of collectors due to its unique rarity, standing out from the thousands minted that year. Its story is tied not only to its physical characteristics but also to a fascinating chapter in Canadian numismatic history. This penny, 1987, was part of a series produced with standard circulation in mind, but certain minting anomalies turned some specimens into treasures for collectors. Small errors in die striking, planchet imperfections, and off-center strikes contributed to its scarcity. Collectors often search high and low for coins like the 1987, knowing that these rare variants are not easily found in circulation. While most pennies are overlooked, this particular coin has a combination of features that make it highly desirable. The coin's appearance is deceptively simple, yet subtle details, such as sharper relief, a slightly different color tone, or unexpected markings, can make a world of difference in its valuation. Experts often use magnification and lighting techniques to identify these nuances. Historically, the Canadian 1 cent, 1987, marked an era of transition in minting technology, when the Royal Canadian Mint experimented with new alloy compositions and stricter quality controls. Some anomalies from this period, instead of being discarded, ended up in collectors' hands. Many numismatists consider the 1987 penny an example of how errors, combined with low survival rates, can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a sought-after collectible. Its appeal crosses borders, drawing attention from international coin enthusiasts. The hunt for this penny often involves inspecting countless coins in circulation, as well as auctions and private sales. Stories abound of collectors finding near-perfect specimens in change or in forgotten coin collections. Condition plays a significant role, and coins graded with higher mint state ratings command premiums. Even a small scratch or slight discoloration can influence the market, making pristine examples extremely valuable. Authentication is crucial, as counterfeit or altered coins can appear similar to the rare 1987 penny. Professional grading services provide the assurance collectors need before investing significant sums. One of the most remarkable facts is that a top-graded 1 cent, 1987, has been valued at $1.53 million, making it one of the most expensive Canadian pennies ever recorded. This staggering price reflects its scarcity, condition, and the excitement surrounding rare coins. Collectors who secure this penny often treat it as a centerpiece of their collection, appreciating both its history and its financial potential. Display cases, proper storage, and careful handling are essential to maintain its condition over time. The legacy of the 1 cent, 1987, continues to grow as more collectors learn about its rarity and significance. Its story reminds us that even the smallest coins can carry immense historical, aesthetic, and monetary value, inspiring new generations of enthusiasts. The 1989 Canadian 1 cent coin has fascinated collectors for decades, standing out not just for its age but for its rarity. Small details in its design make it instantly recognizable to experienced numismatists. Unlike common cents, this coin carries subtle characteristics that are extremely hard to find in circulation. During the late 1980s, Canada produced millions of 1 cent coins, yet only a tiny fraction of 1989 pennies carried the unique features that make them exceptional. Variations in minting and striking errors contribute to the coin's desirability. Even a minor flaw can make a world of difference in value. The coin's design reflects a period in Canadian history when coinage was still made of traditional copper alloys. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse depicts the iconic maple leaf. Collectors pay close attention to the sharpness of these details, which can indicate the coin's origin and condition. Among the rare features of the 1989 penny are doubled dies, misplaced letters, or slight variations in the rim. Coins with these anomalies often become the crown jewels of collections. These characteristics are what make some 1989 pennies sought after in international markets. Finding a 1989 penny in pristine condition is nearly impossible. Most coins of this era have circulated extensively, showing wear and tear that diminishes their value. Coins preserved in uncirculated condition, however, can command incredible prices. Collectors often travel across provinces and even countries seeking these rare pennies. Auctions frequently feature them, and experienced numismatists compete fiercely. The thrill of uncovering a 1989 penny in exceptional condition is part of the appeal that keeps the market alive. The history of the 1989 Canadian 1 cent is intertwined with broader trends in coin production. That year, the Royal Canadian Mint faced unique challenges, including die wear and production speed. These factors contributed to the limited number of era coins that now fetch astronomical sums. Collectors also valued the provenance of each coin. Coins with verified origins or certified by reputable grading services often sell for much higher than uncertified examples. A single detail, like a small scratch or discoloration, can influence the final price dramatically. Even within collections, the 1989 penny stands out. It is often displayed alongside other rare coins, drawing attention due to its story and scarcity. Exhibits and numismatic publications frequently highlight it as a must-have for serious collectors. The most exceptional 1989 penny ever sold reached a staggering $1.31 million, highlighting just how much rarity and condition can impact value. Coins with minor variations, striking errors, or perfect preservation have broken records at auctions worldwide. Despite its high value, many collectors continue to search through circulation and collections in hopes of discovering their own 1989 penny. The hunt itself adds excitement to the numismatic world and fuels ongoing interest in Canadian coinage. This coin represents more than just a monetary object. It captures a piece of Canadian history. Each 1989 penny carries the craftsmanship, technology, and culture of its time, making it a timeless treasure for collectors and investors alike. Next is the 1991 Canadian 1 cent coin is one of the most intriguing pieces for collectors around the world, standing out not just for its age but for its rarity. This coin, often overlooked in circulation, carries a unique story that makes it highly sought after in numismatic circles. During the early 1990s, the Royal Canadian Mint produced billions of pennies, yet a few anomalies slipped through the standard minting process, creating coins that are now worth far more than their face value. The 1991 penny is one such anomaly, catching the attention of collectors and investors alike. One of the reasons this coin is so valuable is the minting error associated with it. Slight variations in die alignment or striking can lead to noticeable differences on the coin's surface, making it a rare find. Coins with these subtle errors are extremely limited, which drives their demand exponentially. The design of the 1991 penny remains a classic, featuring the iconic maple leaf motif on one side and the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on the other. While most 1991 pennies are ordinary, those with anomalies stand out visually, making them immediately recognizable to experienced collectors. Over the years, the 1991 penny has developed a reputation for being elusive in high-grade condition. Circulated coins are common, but finding one that has remained unblemished is an entirely different challenge. The scarcity of pristine examples adds to its value in the collector market. Collectors often search through thousands of coins in banks and private collections in hopes of discovering a 1991 penny with a rare characteristic. The thrill of the hunt, combined with the potential for significant financial gain, makes this coin particularly exciting to pursue. Auctions around the world have seen intense bidding for coins from this year, with experts carefully examining each coin for imperfections, die cracks, or other unique traits that increase desirability. The market for rare 1991 pennies continues to grow steadily as awareness of its scarcity spreads. Historical context also adds to the coin's allure. The early 1990s marked a transitional period for Canadian coinage, with new minting techniques and changes in metal composition. Coins from this era with errors represent a fascinating intersection of history and craftsmanship. Collectors not only value the 1991 penny for its rarity but also for the story it tells about the production methods of the Royal Canadian Mint. Each coin serves as a tangible connection to a specific moment in Canadian numismatic history. The value of a rare 1991 penny can reach up to $1 million, depending on its condition, provenance, and uniqueness. Coins with verified minting errors or exceptional preservation command the highest prices, often attracting worldwide attention from serious collectors and investors. Experts advise storing these coins carefully to maintain their condition, as even minor scratches or handling marks can significantly reduce their value. Protective capsules and climate-controlled environments are standard practices among collectors who handle such high-value coins. The legacy of the 1991 Canadian penny extends beyond its monetary value. It represents a symbol of rarity, history, and craftsmanship that continues to fascinate numismatists, making it a timeless treasure for anyone interested in the art and science of coin collecting. Next is the Canadian 1 cent. 1999 is considered one of the most sought-after coins among collectors worldwide. Its rarity is not just due to its age, but also the unique characteristics that distinguish it from the regular circulation pennies of the same year, making it a prized possession for numismatists. In 1999, the Royal Canadian Mint produced a limited batch with subtle design variations that were not widely documented. These differences, often overlooked by casual collectors, are what makes certain examples exceptionally rare and highly valuable. The coin's material and finish are important factors in its appeal. While most 1999 pennies were made with standard copper plating, the rare variants often display a distinctive hue or minting anomaly, which can significantly increase their desirability among collectors. Collectors often search for errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual embossing on the 1 cent. 1999, as these small defects can transform an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. Even minor scratches or discoloration can impact the coin's market value, though in rare cases, the anomaly itself enhances the appeal. Over the years, the rarity of this 1999 penny has led to heightened attention at auctions and private sales. Collectors have spent years trying to locate mint-perfect examples, often scouring entire boxes of circulated coins to find just one rare piece. The coin is not only valued for its scarcity but also for its historical significance. The late 1990s marked the final years of widespread circulation for the 1 cent coin in Canada, adding a layer of nostalgia and historical interest that modern collectors find irresistible. Many numismatists believe that the 1999 penny represents a pivotal moment in Canadian coinage. Its combination of limited mintage, distinctive design, and minting anomalies ensures it holds a permanent place in any serious collection of Canadian coins. Collectors and investors alike view this rare penny as a tangible piece of history. The coin has been featured in exhibitions, numismatic books, and specialized auctions, highlighting its importance beyond mere monetary value. Due to its rarity, even small differences in condition can dramatically influence its worth. Coins that have retained their original luster and show no signs of circulation are particularly prized, and these mint condition examples often command the highest prices. In recent sales, the 1 cent. 1999 has achieved staggering prices. One of the finest examples sold for $690,000, setting records for Canadian pennies and reinforcing its status as a highly coveted collectible. The market for rare Canadian coins, especially for the 1999 penny, remains strong. Collectors continue to compete fiercely, ensuring that the value of these coins only increases as more people recognize their historical and financial significance. Owning a 1 cent. 1999 penny is more than just holding a coin, it is possessing a piece of Canadian history. For enthusiasts and serious collectors, it represents an opportunity to connect with the past, invest in a rare treasure, and own a symbol of numismatic excellence.